Okay, Trey, now it is time for our Underdog Fantasy
Combination.
For Monday's playoff games, underdogfantasy.com, promo code DING, D-I-N-G, or in the Underdog Fantasy app. We got 3 games tonight. We have Magic at Cavs, 76ers at Knicks, and Lakers at Nuggets game 2. What are you looking at for this Magic and Cavs game?
So for the Magic and Cavs, Jared Allen, 10.5 rebounds. I'm going to say higher.
Jared Allen higher than 10.5 rebounds. He had 18 in game 1. So
Yes.
that is a nice cushy. He could drop off by almost 30, 40%, still get that higher. So we're going Jared Allen higher on rebounds. Now let's go to Knicks versus Sixers in the Garden. Courtside Trey, what do you see from this Knicks 76ers game?
Mitchell Robinson, higher than 8 rebounds.
So Mitchell Robinson had a pretty big game 1 as well, very impactful, and you were going higher on rebounds. So we were picking big men to rebound in these games. That's what we're looking for. He had 12 rebounds in 30 minutes in game 1. Now, the Lakers-Denver, the Lake Show in Denver. D'Angelo Russell, the much maligned D'Angelo Russell, went 1 for 9 for 3, but had 13 points in game 1 in 41 minutes. How do you feel about D'Angelo Russell against the Lakers in game 2?
I'm going to take Jokic as the promo, and then I'm going to take D'Angelo Russell as the lower than 16, and DeAndre Jordan lower than 2.5 points.
So you're saying that DeAndre Jordan will not have any impact in this game? He did come in. No. He did hit a free throw. I saw that. He had some minutes, but you think they tighten the rotation, or you just think that he's ineffective in those minutes?
I just think the game is just going to be too close for him to actually be out there. He might get played off the court.
He did play 9 minutes and have 4 points in game 1, but we are taking DeAndre Jordan lower than 2.5 points. So Jared Allen higher than 10.5 rebounds. Mitchell Robinson higher than 8 rebounds. D'Angelo Russell lower than 16 points. DeAndre Jordan lower than 2.5 points. And if you want to throw in Jokic as the promo, feel free to do that. And that is your Underdog Fantasy
Combination
for Monday.
All right. I haven't shaven in like a few days. Playoffs must be here. Because just...
Is that what this is for?
This is all, yeah. The Blazers season's ended, and so I don't have to shave every day now.
That's what it is. It's not a playoff beard. It's a freedom beard.
It's a freedom beard.
It's like freedom fries.
Trey, do you have any sort of rituals that now that the playoffs here, like nothing?
No, I don't care about sports that much like that. You know what I mean? I'll catch it when it's on. I've been watching, the bets keep me into it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't like, oh, I must go see this game, or like, dang, this is fun. Because like, although the home teams won, there were some that were just like lopsided. It was just like,
a lot of blowouts.
Like I could really go run an errand right now. That's what I was thinking about, like the time I could get back. You know how like you get those like should have been an email. Some of those games should have been an email. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was like, well, can't get that time back. But I was sticking with it because I had parlays going. So I'm like, and parlays get you caring about stupid stuff like why couldn't a guy like Najee Marshall get you, 7 points, or why can a guy
like a guy had some illness? No, wasn't it Jonte? No Jonte?
No Jonte, but I was looking through some of this stuff, bro, and I was just flabbergasted, bro. Like a guy like Isaiah Joe not making 2 threes, which you would think in common knowledge he's going to get that look, or you're looking at like someone. Oh, this is who pissed me off yesterday. Tim Hardaway Jr.
You're going for role players, man. You're going for like Isaiah Joe.
But those are that's the ticket. That's how you get paid. I mean, I've made $1,400 off $10 before. So like, these are the things where it's like Tim Hardaway Jr. 7.5. I believe in you, Tim Hardaway Jr., to score 7 points in your career, like in a playoff game. He gave me 6 points. Like those are the things that really piss me off. But then it also, the fun part about this stuff makes you like, do you know basketball, or have you been watching, or how they're playing you? And like, you have to really think, right? I think that's the cool thing about it. Because you're like, will Tyler Herro score 25 points? And you're like, Boston's going to take the ball out of their hand because there's no Jimmy Butler, so he's going to be doubled. Now you got to start thinking that way. Or, hey, Jonas Valanciunas is most likely probably going to get more than 10 rebounds because he doesn't hang out on the perimeter, versus a guy like Karl Anthony Towns is going to have lower rebounds because he likes to shoot the three. You know, like I was the dummy that picked Damian Lillard under 3.5 threes, and Damian Lillard just decides to just go into crazy mode and score 35 points in the first half and didn't score at all in the second half, which was, I don't know if I want to applaud the defensive correction, but the game was too big. It was already out of reach.
Yeah.
Dame clocked off after the first half. He was good, man.
You got to reset your Dame time.
Mm-hmm.
20 point lead, did his thing. He said, "This is why you brought me here." And he said, "This is also why you're going to rest me in the second half."
Yeah.
Yeah.
His adductor looked pretty good in the first half there. I picked the Bucks in 7. I've been riding the pro Doc train the entire season.
Well, Doc's not on that train with you.
I'm by myself on this pro Doc train.
No one wants you to get on this train, Tom. I wouldn't ask anyone to get on this train.
I feel like I'm on the train. I'm looking for Doc, and he's like, in Cancun already. He's already taken the plane to Cancun. Yeah. So, Dame, I didn't expect that out of the Bucks in game 1. But Dame, when he's going inferno like that, no one's going to beat the Bucks, no matter if Giannis is playing or not. There's lots that I want to get into playoff wise. But first I want to talk about this story, from The Athletic, a gift to the OG pod gods.
Okay.
From The Athletic, anonymous NBA player poll 2024. LeBron or Jordan as the GOAT, most overrated, finals favorite, click. Hard click. Trey, this is, I think, the 5th iteration of this player poll. They got over 100 players to fill out their ballot. So the Athletic staff interviewed 142 players between March 5th and April 11th. That's about a third of the entire league. That's a pretty good sample size. And we get like MVP, who's the MVP, and it's like basically split between Jokic and Shea. Cool. All right. But I think the thing that we need to talk about here is right off the bat, not about MJ, LeBron, GOAT, but it's about Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert, who's, I think, a shoe-in. What is shoe in French, Maze?
It's a chaussure, Tom.
Okay. A chaussure-in.
Oh, boy.
I don't think he said that.
Chaussure.
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 Ronald.
The Coming Home pod will not be doing it in French anytime soon.
I mean, we can use AI.
Yeah, let's use AI for that.
Yeah, let's get Trey's voice in French via AI. I like that.
So here are the results for who's the best defender. So Rudy Gobert's, according to our guy Max Crows, who's been tabulating the votes. He was on Basketball Illuminati last year. I think Rudy Gobert is going to win this handily. Defensive Player of the Year vote. But that's from the media. That is not from the players. The players have a different take on this. The number one guy vote getter for who's the best defender of the 132 votes cast, Victor Wembanyama got the top vote at 13% or 15%. So then I'm like, okay, Rudy Gobert is going to be right there. It's going to be between those two Frenchmen, Victor Wembanyama and Rudy Gobert. Actually, Drew Holiday is in second for most likely to, or who's the best defender. He's at 12.9%. Okay, so it's Drew, then Victor Wembanyama. Oh, sorry. So it's Victor Wembanyama, then Drew, then Rudy Gobert, right? No, Trey. Lou Dort is third. Okay, Lou Dort. We got 2 perimeter guys and Victor Wembanyama. All right. Well, there's going to be another big here, so it's going to be Rudy Gobert, number 4. No, Herb Jones, number 4. Tied with finally Timberwolf, Rudy Gobert, right? No, Jaden McDaniels. So where's Rudy? Not even in the top 5.
Damn.
Rudy Gobert finished 6th in the player vote with 6% of the votes in the Best Defender award for the players. That is shocking to me. I've been on Basketball Illuminati. I've been covering the league. I understand that people don't like Rudy Gobert. Did I think that he was going to finish 6th in the vote? Trey, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm not. The thing is, it's just like, he's just not a sexy player, man. You got to be sexy, man. That's it. When it comes to like popularity, you got to be sexy. It's nothing that shows a sexiness. I'm just mature enough to just not troll.
You're mature enough to say that Rudy's sexy, is what you're saying.
No, I'm mature enough to respect. I'm mature enough to respect what he brings to the table. The average person that's going to be watching it is like, he's not sexy. He doesn't do anything. He's just tall. They don't think about the action of like his presence changing shots. You know what I mean? Like him just roaming around a little bit, whether the person shot or not, they don't look at that as quote unquote defensive awareness or defensive, like changing your whole entire offense, like the usage. And like they look at it like, okay, well, if he ain't blocking 5 shots, how is he the defensive player? If he can't, and hats off to Rudy, he was guarding KD early on the perimeter, moving his feet. So that's a very rare sighting that he's out there on the island trying to move his feet and be rapid and recover and change shots. And I think that's what people would love to see from him. But there's going to be a mismatch most of the time. He might block him in the end, like, you know what I mean, after he gets hit with a couple moves. But again, his game isn't sexy. We can go down the line and think about random players that aren't sexy. Roy Hibbert in the past. Game is not sexy. I've never been turned on by Roy Hibbert.
I've been turned on by verticality, let me tell you. I disagree.
Straight up, baby. Straight up. Sexy.
6 to midnight, you know? Well, you know what? I think we might be able to get Rudy Gobert on the line here to defend himself. Okay. You say it's not he's not a sexy player. Clearly the players agree with you that he doesn't have the credibility that, say, Victor Wembanyama or Drew Holiday, Lou Dort, Jaden McDaniels have. So let's go straight to the line with Rudy Gobert. Rudy, thanks for joining us here. Any comment on this player poll from The Athletic that puts you at 6th in the Best Defender award vote?
Thomas, we have talked so many times on this podcast, on the Basketball Illuminati. You know, vous savez what I am going to say. This is bullshit. Bullshit. Which player did they ask? Which player did they ask who is the best defender? Par les big men?
Yeah,
All the big men, ils sont effrayés. They are scared. They do not want to play with the Rudy Gobert. Le Jonas Valanciunas, le Nikola Vucevic. Ils ne veulent rien. They don't want to see me. They vote for me. Everyone else, c'est les gardes, les Wang, les James Harden. Ils ont voté. They voted for the Holiday, le Ludor, le Lugens, le Herb Jones, le Jaden.
What was that? Sorry, I didn't understand.
Herb Jones.
Alp. Oh.
C'est lui, Herb.
Yeah.
Herb.
Sound like a push a T ad lib.
Herb.
Yeah.
If you ask the big men, ils vont voter pour moi. Mais les gardes, ils votent pour les autres gardes. C'est politique. It's politics, Thomas.
But it's not your fellow countryman, Victor Wembanyama, was number one. So how do you feel? I mean, do you think you're more deserving than your fellow Frenchman?
Victor, c'est seulement, Victor is only the new Rudy. C'est Rudy 2.0. Ils have not seen this before. They only see me. Et maintenant, il y a Victor. Victor is here. Et tout le monde dit, oh, c'est Rudy autrefois. C'est Rudy again. C'est normal. Il est nouveau. Il est brand new. Mais ils sont fatigués. Ils sont tired of me. Ça, c'est pourquoi. This is why.
Okay. Do you have any comment? You were named the league's most overrated player among players. 14% of the vote, 81 votes cast. What interesting to me, Trey, is that players who voted most underrated player, 126 votes, and then most overrated player, a lot of players were just like, nah, I'm not responding to that. But of the players, the 81 that did respond, Rudy Gobert, 14%, which is almost twice as high as the next highest vote getter, Jordan Poole. Rudy, this is weird because you guys the Timberwolves finished with by far the best defense in the NBA. They think you're the sixth best defender, a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year award winner, and you guys had the best defense by a long shot. And then suddenly you're now not even one of the top 5 best defenders, but also you're the most overrated defender. This was like the best Minnesota Timberwolves season in like 2 decades. Your response?
Thomas, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
It's overrated because I am rated so high. I am rated so high. I am so good that, of course, people think, oh, there is no way, c'est impossible. How could Rudy Gobert be so good?
What did you?
C'est impossible. It is impossible.
Oh, impossible. Okay.
How could Rudy be on the number 1 defense? How could his team be so good? There is no way. That is what they are saying. They are not saying I am bad. They are saying that people think I am too good.
Trey, do you have any questions for Rudy here? He seems to think that people think he's too good, and therefore any performance is just going to not be able to meet those expectations.
No, I have no questions for Rudy.
Okay. Well,
because he is scared, Thomas.
Trey is a former player. He played at some of the highest levels in America. So I don't know if you have any words you'd like to share with Trey, who has played amongst a lot of these players before.
I have not heard of him.
He probably hasn't. I'm gonna be honest. It probably hasn't, man. Look, the thing is, I respect Rudy. I know for internet purposes, you can take the troll too far. Nah, I respect that dude. That dude can hoop. You know what I mean? I know what value it is. I know what it means to have a good big man.
Yeah. Okay.
This is Maze here talking, by the way. I do think that this who's the best defender vote is compensating for the fact that defensive player of the year usually goes to a big man. Historically, it's almost always a big man. And guess what? The majority of the league is not big men. The majority of the league is wings and guards. And so what you're seeing here is you're seeing people recognizing the defenders that they have to deal with more often, which is Drew, Dort, Herb Jones, Jaden McDaniels, all tremendous defenders on the perimeter. But those guys, like Lou Dort is never going to win defensive player of the year. No matter how good of a season he has, it's just not going to happen because Victor Wembanyama is going to be out there blocking 7 shots a game.
And low-key might be cooked for anybody else. Like perimeter, we might not see a guard win Defensive Player of the Year ever. I just don't see it unless they start making guards.
Smart.
Unless they make 6'9" guards. Like, I forgot all about that name. That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
He got banished. Oh my God. Somebody, wow. You said a Marcus Smart. I forgot he was in the NBA. That's crazy. That's how bad that is.
He won the award. Like
he won the award, and Boston fans hated
but I'm just saying. But I'm just saying.
That was ridiculous. The number one thing, Trey, when people were campaigning for Marcus Smart's depoy, was he recovers loose balls higher than average. And I was like, what? That's not even a defensive stat. A loose ball can happen on both ends of the floor. And that was the only thing they could point to as like, yeah, he's better than this than anybody.
The 6th guard ever to win depoy, Trey.
I mean, listen, depoy means nothing in my wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I'm not screaming, he got the Defensive Player of the Year, or hell yeah. Like, nah, like it's just some awards to vote on. Like, it's like the Super Bowl winner. You don't think, unless it's your team, you're not going to be like, you probably can't even tell who played in the Super Bowl if you're not really just that locked in about it. Like, I'm going to be like, yo, who played that year? Like, I'm not thinking about the score. I'm not thinking about, so D-Boy is just like that. Like, shout out to Marcus Smart, amazing defender, perimeter, and in the post, does really well. But I forgot all about that man.
Yeah.
He got sent to the wall, and we, meaningless.
You wore the black?
Listen, that whole Memphis Grizzlies season never happened. It never happened. Bro, they had 2 at the end of the year when LeBron and them beat them. They had 2 salary guys on that team. 2. 2 that were active.
They had, I think, twice as many games lost due to injury as the next highest team in the league.
And I'm not even looking at that team as like, yo, next year with Marcus Smart, the West better watch out. I don't feel that at all. I feel like Marcus Smart got to free himself. I don't look at it as like, yo, this was an amazing get for them. You know what I mean?
The
like
Celtics win the title without Defensive Player of the Year Marcus Smart.
My God.
Wow.
That's going to be the DeMar DeRozan, Kawhi Leonard shit. Where it was like, yo, you're not really the problem, but we won this shit without you. And you're going to feel some type of way.
Well, to Maze's point about the guards and wings voting for the player poll versus like the media and what they see, Trey, we've got Max Crow's, the official ballot here, the tally from Max Cross or Crows?
It's Cross.
Yeah, Cross. I want to say Cross because his Twitter is at Crossfire, but instead of Cross, it's CROES. So Max Cross, thank you for tabulating this. He goes out like the intrepid reporter that he is, not waiting on the NBA to produce the results. He goes and listens to every podcast and reads every column and sleuths for the answers, gets the ballot from everybody unofficially. The confirmed vote tally right now, there's not a single guard who has gotten a vote for Defensive Player of the Year yet.
Nope.
It's Rudy Gobert with 83 points, 13 first place votes. In second is Victor Wembanyama with 6 first place votes and 39 total points. So Rudy Gobert is lapping the field right now in the media vote. Anthony Davis is in third with 11 points and Bam Adebayo is in fourth. Those are the only people that have gotten Defensive Player of the Year votes. And I think we now know, Maze, didn't they release the top 3 in Defensive Player of the Year, the finalists?
Bam is going to beat out AD, but AD appears to have only gotten 1 vote in the player poll. He has 0.8%.
Wow.
So he didn't even make the top 15 or whatever is on the graphic here.
That's interesting. This wing bias, I'm like now buying into this, Maze, is the media is... I mean,
Rudy speaks nothing but facts. He opens our eyes.
I mean, my third eye was, I thought it was open, but it was half open. I wasn't seeing the full picture until Rudy Gobert took his 8-foot wingspan and reached out and flicked it open.
We all love Alex Caruso, okay? Do we honestly think that Alex Caruso is on the same level of defensive impact as Rudy Gobert? There's clearly some tomfoolery afoot, Tom.
Oh, good. Nice pun there. Alex Caruso has 5%, Bam Adebayo 4.5%, Jalen Suggs 4.5%. You go on down the line. It's fairly interesting who gets a Defensive Player of the Year award. But another thing I want to hear at the top, the Coming Home podcast, I want to discuss is the most overrated player vote. We talked about Rudy Gobert, but if you look at the fine print of like those who also receive votes, let me know if like one of these names pops out to you as being strange. All right, Bam Adebayo, Jaylen Brown, Jimmy Butler, Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, Draymond Green, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Keldon Johnson.
What?
What did Keldon Johnson do to you?
Made the Olympic team?
He did.
You know, that might be it. That's the only thing I can come
mad that Keldon Johnson took their spot on Team USA roster. That has to be it, right?
All right, now let's do it. All right, who would be mad
Who's
at
putting
Keldon?
Luka?
It's Trey.
Who's putting
Trey
Joel Embiid? What? Those are some salty votes.
Yeah. I also saw Evan Fournier. You know what? I'm going to leave that one alone. No, you know what?
This is for unlikable guys, right?
I think this is just French guys.
It's most overrated, but I mean, that might as well be unlikable. So, this seems petty, right?
To be fair,
getting ready for Team USA this summer.
He got a crazy ass bag.
Yeah.
And like the Spurs were just really bad. So I think people were
pocket
probably
watching.
It was definitely pocket watching.
Yeah.
Because that's why Jordan Poole is number 2.
Easy.
100%. Because he wasn't good this year. So I don't think anybody's overrating him.
I think guys don't never really set in the TV money and like the just due, right? If you're on a roster and what you're owed. You know what I mean? Like people be like thinking, I remember still to this day when Reggie Jackson got paid and John Wall reacted, right? And it's like, that's what's supposed to happen when you're re-signing and you've been with a team for a certain amount and you've been at least decent and have some type of value. That is going to be the market. So to see any guys that are role players, clearly role players, make $100 million, some guys be disgusted, especially the players that's out the league looking right now. They're like, oh, I used to fry him. And it's like, so what? Mm-hmm. It's not about that. He's been with this team for 7 years. That was due. You know what I mean? Like, you make money now just being there at a point. Oh, you didn't cause trouble. You didn't end up in a headline. You are a great locker room guy. You're probably our 4th option. Oh, yeah, here's $100 million. That's what's going to happen. You can't pocket watch and just be like, oh, bro, he got how much? You can't be mad at a Grayson Allen who shot extremely well and got the extension he did. He deserves it. He probably would have got more if he played for the Suns a little bit longer. You know what I mean? Like, it actually lucked up for the Suns for him being at a cap where they can only offer so much because they probably would have had to pay more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they low-key got him on a discount. So, you know, it's always funny when you hate on money because they all got money now. Back in the day, it was like not too many people making $1 million. Not too many people making 30. Like when Jordan was doing them 1 year, $30 million deals, I could only imagine. But he clearly was winning. So I don't think it was an argument of like, yo, Michael Jordan shouldn't be getting, who the hell does he think he is? Now everybody rich. So there's no competition added to that. Like, oh, I want to be the highest paid player. They're like, shit, that's Bron. That's KD. Like, I'm not arguing with that. They supposed to get that bread. But then you're getting guys that's like, point guards. I look at point guards like running backs making $45 million and they're turning 38 and you're trying to like spatula them off your team and they just won't retire.
I will not stand for this Chris Paul slander. I can't. I will not stand for that.
No Kyle Lowry. No
Kyle Lowry slander.
Like,
he went after it in game one. Hey, I want to talk also about fellow Demon Deacon here. We talked CP. James Johnson, number one, most player you'd least like to fight. Okay, blood sport, not surprising. MMA fighter, 6'8".
But also, I think he has like a great boogeyman.
Yeah, it's reputation. It's fear factor
He
now.
has a good boogeyman. It's like James Johnson. You know what I mean? Guys like Ivan Johnson. Guys like, you know what I'm saying? Where you're like, ooh, Oakley. Grabbing a Tyrone Hill.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We almost had Steven Adams versus James Johnson. We almost had it. They got up, bench is cleared. They got up, went back to each other. And we almost had a heavyweight battle between Steven Adams, who finished number 2 on the vote. And then we have Beef Stew at number 3, Embiid at 4, Draymond Green at 5. I feel like there was a strong clutch presence here in these votes. Interesting here. Also receiving votes, Thanasis Antetokounmpo. Explain this one.
Come on.
Explain this one, Trey.
Poku? Why is Poku down there?
Poku is my next one I was going to get. I feel like you could just kind of like literally poke him and he just fall over.
I don't know, because Poku probably got some like magic, like he slip a potion on you or some shit while you're not paying attention.
He's a wizard.
Just do some bullshit in your Gatorade where you just like start tripping. He probably do something dirty. But
he's gonna. Okay, yeah. Is it just wingspan there? Because Zion also got a vote, but Victor Wembanyama is right there next to Poku. I think that's wingspan.
It's size. Like when you really think about fights and stuff, right? Like there's nobody delusional that's gonna walk into it and be like, "Oh, I'll whoop dude ass, whoop Shaq ass," right? Also, you don't look at it in a situation of like, "Yo, you actually could win this." You get what I'm saying? So it's basketball, first of all. I respect James Johnson. I respect Draymond. I respect Isaiah Stewart. But like, realistically, a wise man once told me, you could be the toughest man between those lines because nobody wants to pay the fine or be blackballed out of the league. It is a very seldom scenario where somebody's going to snap and they could not control themselves and they actually landed a punch. So I've seen smaller guards or anything laugh or like, oh, it was Damon, one of the Pacers guards. I can't even think right now. He smiled and they're like, ooh, like, Damian Lillard's not going to throw a punch at me, bro, on national TV. The 2 times to ever smile is an altercation on the court and when you taking your mug shot. Because if you famous and it go viral and you look like you crying, you better pretend. You can cry later, but that mugshot gonna be everywhere, so you might as well make it look fire.
Or what about Ant Edwards with KD? He was smiling during that. You like that? That was fun.
That was just great competition.
That was awesome.
And also, like, KD knows that, like, down the line, these dudes are here. They're here now. He said it about Jason Tatum. Like, yo, Jason Tatum is like, it's like getting the best of me, but like, it's going to be a year or 2 where he's going to surpass me. And I'm okay with that because I did that with the greats too. I faced off with the Kobes. I faced off with certain players where I had to look them in the face and they smiled back because they knew it. It was like, yo, this is friendly. I love the competition, but the future is here and I'm facing my hoop mortality.
Speaking of hoop mortality, I want to go to the last question here. Who's the greatest player of all time? Okay. 133 votes cast. And in 2019, this is the vote.
That was Maze breathing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's breathing some air. Okay. His Airness has experienced serious slippage for the 3rd consecutive poll. According to The Athletic, Jordan had a huge edge in 2019 with 73% of the vote compared to LeBron's 11%. And then last year, it closed to 58 versus 33. And in this year, Trey, It is Michael Jordan no longer has more than 50% of the majority of the vote. He is now at 45.9%, and LeBron is nipping at his heels at 42%. Trey, I think this is about the age.
Oh yeah, this is over. First of all, that's why I stopped doing the whole GOAT debate. Right, I stopped entertaining the memes. I stopped entertaining all this stuff because in the next 5 years, LeBron is the GOAT. Despite winning, despite any of these things, our voice is no longer going to matter on the internet. It is going to be, hey, if I grew up watching, because Rich Kleiman had an interview with Chet Holmgren, right? And he's like, yo, you were 7 months or 4 months when LeBron was drafted. That shit was crazy to me, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, some of these players, most of the league only know LeBron.
Mm.
Their parents aren't sitting them down and saying, yo, you need to watch some Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Then we also have meme accounts pushing the agenda of we're done with the 90s, right? Just trying to insult the forefathers, the people who have planted this seed for you to make all this money, for you to have certain styles in your game. We're just going to do a complete erasure.
Yeah.
And it's unnecessary. I think Michael Jordan, I think Jay-Z, I think Denzel Washington, I think Michael Jackson, I think Michael Jackson's probably untouchable. But those three that I mentioned in certain things, Tom Brady might be untouchable too, unless Pat Mahomes really just kind of goes crazy the next 5 years. But I look at it as kids aren't going to need to watch actual games. They're going to have an argument and they're going to go to Google and it's going to show that LeBron James has 40,000 points. And it's going to show that LeBron played a certain amount of years.
Well, 40,000 is more than 6, 6 titles. So what do you think about that, Trey?
But I think that's not
39,994 more than 6.
But I think ring culture is going to die with Gen Z.
Okay. I like
and
this.
I actually think that might be a good thing.
Sure.
Because there's a lot more to Michael Jordan than just 6 that makes him extremely qualified. So if we belittle the GOAT conversation to just how many titles have you won, I think that would do a great service to the conversation. And I would say, Trey, you're absolutely right. It does feel like a generational thing. And you can point to the fact that of the 6 people who got votes in this, almost all of the votes were guys who are still in the league, right? So you got LeBron, Stephen Curry, you got Paul Pierce got a vote for GOAT, which is amazing.
Paul Pierce woke up confused. But to that random no Kareem, no Will. Yeah. Listen, for that random 16-year-old that watched Paul Pierce win a ring in 2008, he's his GOAT. He's his GOAT.
Watched it in his diapers, in his or her diapers. Watch Paul Pierce in 2008.
Like somebody's like, I
have this vivid memory as I'm suckling on the teat of my mother. Paul Pierce raising the Larry O'Brien trophy. Vivid memory.
Like Tom, you gotta acknowledge what is also happening here. Once again, look at this list. Michael Jordan,
Rudy
LeBron
Gobert.
James, Kobe Bryant, Stephen Curry, Magic Johnson, Paul Pierce, wings and guards.
No big.
Where are the big men?
Because big men don't matter. Big men don't matter anymore,
man.
Because that's the thing.
How do they not matter? Jokic matters. Giannis matters. Embiid matters.
They don't
because they're not
they not sexy.
Big men don't matter. Big men aren't sexy. You heard it here first on the OG pod.
Because
Embiid,
look,
Embiid
we grew up on a Shaq era, right? We grew up on a Shaq era. This man had a candy bar. This man had a video game. This man had a signature shoe, movies, albums, and we were able to invest in this big man. Probably the most marketable big man of all time. Like
the sexiest big man.
The sexiest big man because he made it look cool. Shaq even had a horrible trend where you go bald and you just leave your fucking sideburns. I did it. I did it. 1993. I did it. I asked for like, hey, yo, cut all my hair off, but leave the sideburns. And it was just these little patches on the side.
No.
Trash. Imagine being 8 years old with that bullshit ass cut. That's how influential Shaq was.
That is Shaq's legacy right there.
Yo.
Damn.
We don't have any more Shaqs. We need more Shaqs.
Yeah.
Y'all start grooming these Shaqs and stop grooming these KDs. Your kid belongs on the block. Stop giving your kid the keys and allowing them to dribble and do all these jump shots. Get back to the
Karl
block for sure to
Towns.
feeling.
Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns. Listen
Get
up.
back to the feeling, man. We don't gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like all the parents now, the AAU parents, think they 6'9" kid deserves to be on the wing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're eliminating the jobs. The jobs are being taken for the small guys. If you're 6 feet, go be a librarian because there's no more jobs. Little guards, you're out of here. Focus on your craft. Be a lawyer, be a doctor.
Yeah, AI. Everyone's scared of AI taking jobs, but it's really Allen Iverson taking jobs. The little guard taking jobs.
Little guard.
The guys with the handles and the crossover who, you know, want to show
AI
flash.
the other day. Saw AI the other day. Would make a great postman. Yo, could you imagine AI as your plumber? Or like AI as like the local, you know, just owns a clothing store. Just a cool guy that owns the clothing store. Like
That's
trying to picture.
By the way,
Think about this. Try to picture anyone 6'3" and below working a regular job in like a multiverse.
Allen Iverson. Did you see him at the statue reveal ceremony?
Terrible. Yeah. Philly did a terrible job, not like warming us up.
Statues in the NBA they're just bad. I mean, the Kobe one having typos all over it. Come on,
No, they fixed those, Tom. They fixed
it. But also we talked about
no one will ever know.
Stat sheet should have never been on there.
Never been on it. Come on,
just doing
man.
a lot.
You know that sculptor was sweating that entire time. I got to do a fucking box score.
Vom wafer.
I don't even think he did it. I think he just scanned it. And the box sheet that they probably had,
it was AI. I bet they were just like, hey, what are it's just print this out, a 3D printer, and the Von looked like a Vom wafer, the best typo possible. You know what? Before we get to that, let me just mention I'm going to, in the near future, weigh in on the GOAT debate with LeBron and Michael Jordan.
Whoa, Tom's top teases. Is that going to be at the Finder?
Yeah, there'll be some at the Finder, maybe at Yahoo Sports. In addition to my weekly big number videos that I'm doing at Yahoo Sports now, this most recent one got a lot of play. Speaking of LeBron James, a lot of play. Plus 507. That's the number of free throws that the Lakers have taken more than their opponent this regular season, which is twice as much as the next highest team, the Boston Celtics. And in game one of the series against the Denver Nuggets shot just 6 free throws the entire game. They were the third team in NBA history to win a postseason game while taking 6 or fewer free throws. I did not suggest any tomfoolery in that. I was just stating the facts, Trey, that the Lakers get a lot more free throws than their opponent, historically so. And after that game one, when I tweeted out the Nuggets free throw total, I lit a fire amongst the Lakers fans. I didn't say anything about referees.
You a hater.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to get the Lakers fans going, Tom.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that I'm in good favor. It's been a while since they've been nice to me. They be nice to me now. I don't know what I did. Maybe it's because I just stopped hating on LeBron. I don't know. But they just been nice. Super nice. They get it. I mean, and that's the thing.
They get it.
They get it.
No, because I think this is the first year I've ever seen Lakers fans just like accept their fate. They're not fighting a good fight anymore. I think their moral victory was that the Warriors weren't in the playoffs and that they were. That's all they care about at this point. But they know, like, they're like, shit, we got Jokic, bro.
Yeah.
We can't do nothing with, bro.
And
it's true. Poor AD. Poor AD. That's all we're going to think about is like, yo, you know how Will Chamberlain used to run into Bill Russell and just couldn't do anything with, bro? Like, that's gonna be the AD Jokic joint. Where he's just going to be like, sad. He never got the best of him.
I mean, AD played his ass off, too, in game one. That was the thing, is he played a great game. It just didn't matter. Like, the Lakers started strong. They got up. And then second quarter run, all of a sudden, Denver's right back in the game. Then in the third quarter, another run, and suddenly... it's not a game anymore.
Yep.
It's tough, man. But when you
I think it's tough.
When you got D'Angelo Russell shooting 1 for 9 from 3, that's a tough look for the Lakers. It's probably not going to work out for you.
Well, I think everyone was nervous to see how the Nuggets championship repeat quest would go without Ish Smith. So we're now.
Yes, we were all thinking that.
All very much. Some of those worries have been. Fleshed out a little bit. So we'll see how they fare without Ish going forward and whether that's going to come back to bite them. Because speaking of GOATs, didn't see Ish on that player poll, but talk about underrated.
Yeah. Yes.
He's my GOAT. Yeah. When people ask me, hey, who's LeBron or Michael? Who's your GOAT? I'm like, neither. Other.
Yes. We are all underrating his contribution.
Let's do a whip around on the playoffs. We're going to save it for the Patreon. Jump around a bunch of series here. Stay tuned. Michael Jordan. Going to have a story on him coming out very soon. Should be interesting. My debut story at Yahoo Sports was how the playoffs might be defined by injuries because of, we had Giannis, Julius Randle, Embiid's iffy. We had Jimmy Butler out for multiple weeks, Zion Williamson out for multiple weeks. And just as Adam Silver in the league was kind of doing this victory lap on the player participation policy, getting all these star players to play more this year, Kawhi Leonard and et cetera, then they started dropping like flies. And it's like, man, the whole point of load management is to save them for the postseason. And so if they're playing more in the regular season and they're not playing in the postseason, what are we doing? Right. So now we got some injuries, whether you can point to the, whether it's load management or they should have been load managed more or not, no one can ever say. But this playoffs is being defined by injuries in some ways and in others not. And what we're seeing with Embiid, he came out just killing. He threw a self-alley-oop off the backboard.
Oh, my God. Listen, I watched it live here in a bar in New York, and I watched the crowd go, oh, and then when he landed, they were like, ooh. Then they start cheering. It was the gross thing ever when he got hurt. And I was like, yuck, come on, New York.
This was Raptors in the 2019 finals with KD.
Yes. So, and then they start saying, nah, 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 nah.
Oh.
Hey, goodbye.
Next day?
Yeah. But that play is probably his greatest play. But also, watching his eyes roll back, I was like, oh, he's cooked.
Well, yeah.
And the fact that he went back out there was like, bro, this is just a regular playoff game.
I don't know what they were doing in the blue tent back there.
Yeah. They shot him up with something, though. Because all he did was remove the brace. Which I don't know how that made it even better.
Well, a lot of players, this. A lot of players hate the knee brace because it's uncomfortable, but it also it makes them move differently, and so it feels like you're aggravating the injury or you're throwing off the chain, the biomechanic chain. And I know a bunch of players who refuse to wear a knee brace, even when the medical staff is being like, "No, you gotta wear this."
Yeah, because I started wearing mine, and that shit was cutting my leg. I hated it. It's just a discomfort, but. I think the crazy thing about it too is somebody was reporting, I forgot who it was, but they were saying that he has to get used to the noises, right? Because just because it's popping That's just air going through. You know what I'm saying? But the idea of it, because my knees pop, and I'd be like, oh, and I'd be like, you ain't tearing nothing, chill. You know what I'm saying?
You have to get used to the noises. That is fucking scary.
It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. It's like, it's not like it's breaking, but sometimes it's unhinging, it's loosening up. You like do that it's just like cracking your knuckles.
Yeah.
But like if you're outside and you're hooping and you hear it, you're gonna think like, oh, I broke something. It's like, nah, like it's just your bones like doing that. You got to get back into the habit of it. And I think it's a more mental hurdle of cool, you're playing, but like, again, him being able to jump. The fact that he even tried it, it was adrenaline. He wasn't thinking about nothing else. He just was like, how can I score in this particular moment? His mind went to that and forgot that he did all other shit. Because I did some bullshit where I had a broken foot my senior year, and I tried to dunk on somebody from like the dotted off 2 feet. And I'm like, yo, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
It was just at the moment, it just felt good. Like it was like, yo, do it. And my coach was like, get him. Sup? Like, what are you doing? Like, you just go into that moment. You be feeling like, if it feel good, it feel good. And you'll deal with the results later.
Tyrese Maxey's questionable for game 2 because of an illness. And Joel Embiid didn't jump from the dotted, basically jumped from the dotted on a self-alley-oop.
He tossed from the dotted.
Yeah. Aggravated the injury, then came back and tried to play through that. And I think his plus minus, I have it written down somewhere, but his plus minus in the game and then on court, off court was ridiculous. Once again, it might be the single greatest factor in the NBA is Joel Embiid on court, off court. He was plus 14 in an 11-point loss. Do the math. That is a minus 21 off the floor. So they've got it. Like it is the thing, the Achilles heel for the Philadelphia 76ers over these last, in the Embiid eras. They've never figured out what the hell to do when Embiid is off the floor, and it cost him in game 1. And Nick Nurse after the game was basically like, yeah, we'll see about his status in game 2. Because that knee, the swelling, maybe the knee brace doesn't even fit anymore. Mm-hmm. We'll see.
Yeah, you can look at the Joel Embiid. You can do that math, Tom, or you can just look at Paul Reed's plus minus 21 in 11 minutes. So there you go.
Yeah, Paul bleed.
B-ball Paul. Yeah, it's really tough. It's really unfortunate. It keeps happening year after year. It feels like the definition of insanity, right? It's like we just keep getting to the playoffs and Joel is hurt. And it does not ever really change or end well for the 76ers. What other games do you want to talk about?
Dallas Clippers. Okay, so Dallas came into this postseason.
Them boys can't guard a shadow. They can't guard a damn shadow right now. Oh my God.
That was their problem is they were bottom 10 defensively for most of the year, and they got on a hot streak, 12-3 in their final 15 games. They were the best team after the All-Star break, best team in the last 15. And I looked historically whether momentum matters in the playoffs because it clearly didn't matter in game 1 where they got their ass handed to them. They were down 26 at halftime. Without Kawhi Leonard, the Clippers, without Kawhi Leonard on their home floor, they were 3.5-point dogs on their home floor. That's how much the entire momentum of the Dallas Mavericks had swung in the other direction, that they were 3.5-point favorites on the road in game 1. So, Trey, do you think, just as either put your player hat on or just analyst hat on or betting hat on, do you think end of season momentum matters? How well a team is playing in the final month of the season or the last couple weeks of the season? Do you even care about how a team is hot coming in or cold coming in? Or do you think that the playoffs are just a totally new season and neuralize that shit out of your head?
It does matter. I think, like think about the one time that the Suns in the bubble, right? When they just went on a run and it was like a good momentum. I think that stuff matters because, like, I think the scary part is like if you're playing too well at the beginning and you haven't hit any adversity, and you're like, that's the thing that coaches normally like look for, of like, how are we going, like, did we peak or did we not peak? Or, you know, like, hey, this is it. You know when it's about to happen, like, oh, we're clicking. We're finally clicking. And that's the good sign of the momentum of like the Aprils. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think being the fourth through sixth seed is always good, because you're not too good to rest your guys. You're still in the hunt of trying to win games towards the end. So that can kind of go over. Like, I was afraid Boston was going to come in and be too cool and relaxed and let Miami like jab them. You know what I mean? But they took care of business. You know what I'm saying? Because they had too much time off.
They showed me something in game one. Just to finish the Dallas thing, is when I looked at this for the Finder, this week's Tom's Title Tiers wrote about how the Dallas Mavericks are actually still 3-star on the 3-star tier. I researched, does momentum matter, Trey? And what I found was that the hotter team in a 3 versus 6 matchup, the hotter team over the last 15 games, if you had won more games in that 15 game sample than your opponent, so like in this example, it's the Dallas Mavericks went 12-3. The Clippers went 9-6. So that's a +4 or a +3 advantage. Those 6 seeds that had a better momentum going into the postseason, they actually beat the 3 seed more often than they didn't. So in the 9 series that the 6 seed had a better momentum than a 3 seed, they won 5 out of those 9 series. So that's interesting to me. Overall, they're 9-33, but if they had the momentum going into that series, they're doing much better than expected. So at first, I did this story in 2012. Momentum didn't matter. Like, the research showed that the momentum, whether you're hot or cold, doesn't matter. You don't change your fate. In that 3-6 matchup, it does seem to show an impact. And some of that's injuries, some of that's small sample size. Last year, the Golden State Warriors beat the 3-seeded Kings. And they were much better in the final stage of the schedule than the Kings. And then they won in Game 7. In this example, the Dallas Mavericks, I picked them in 7. I thought the Dallas Mavericks would win in 7. And right now, it's looking pretty tough, given how their defense just couldn't stop anything on the Clippers side. And they did it without Kawhi Leonard. So Boston, though, that Jason Tatum play, down 20, last minute of the game, and Eric Spoelstra calls a timeout. And then Caleb Martin goes in for a rebound and takes out Jason Tatum. People went crazy about this.
That play was pretty bad, though. It wasn't a basketball play.
However, another angle showed that Drew Holiday pushed Caleb Martin as Caleb Martin was going in for the rebound, and it went right into Jason Tatum. So while I think it looked bad at first, if Drew Holiday doesn't push him into Jason Tatum, I don't think that play is as ugly as it was. And Caleb Martin also stuck his hand out and tried to get Jason Tatum back up off the floor. At first, I thought it was ugly, a dirty play. But then once Drew Holiday pushed him, I saw that Drew Holiday pushed him. I'm like, eh. So what this means for game 2 is I think there's going to be some shenanigans in game 2.
You don't say, Tom.
But there's no Grant Williams out there. So who's going to do it? Al? It's not going to be Drew. It's not going to be Kristaps. I'm trying to think, who is the enforcer on the Boston Celtics roster? They could have had one of Marcus Smart. Peyton Pritchard. Okay.
It's time for him to step up, put his neck out there, hold it down. If not, Sam Hauser will have his back. It'll be good.
Yeah.
But I mean, that matchup that's the injury factor that you mentioned, Tom. Like, we're interested in that series if it's Jimmy Butler out there. We're just not if he's not. And it's, I don't know. If you're a Celtics fan, if you're a diehard Celtics fan, does this feel good? Not having to face Jimmy Butler?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Like, you'd rather put the Jimmy Butler.
You want to put the nightmare to rest, right? You want to
exercise the Jimmy Butler demon, right?
Exactly. You want to say, we beat them with their guys and we don't have to worry about this anymore. If you're Mike Scherr, Bill Simmons, are you still going to have nightmares next year if you sweep the Heat, but they didn't have Jimmy?
Yeah, for sure. There's no way that they're not sweating next year if Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo play. There's no way.
So that's a bummer, but it is what it is. I mean, the Celtics, if they don't make the finals, this season is a failure. So that is a tough but fair high bar they have set for themselves. And given the way the rest of the East has looked, they absolutely should make the finals.
All right, Trey, I have Boston on my top tier. I got Boston, Denver, and OKC as my top tier title contenders. Do you have a disagreement on any of those being in that top tier?
No, except
OKC, Denver, and Boston.
OKC.
Mm-hmm.
They're there though. They're close, but not yet.
On the second tier, I got Minnesota and New York. So the 4-star contenders, I got Minnesota and New York. And then in that third tier, I got Dallas, Clippers, and Bucks in that third tier. Fourth tier, I got Phoenix, Lakers, Philly. And then in the final tier, the 1-star tier, I got Cleveland, Miami, and Pellies. So I think the most controversial standing there is Phoenix as a 2-star title contender along with Philly and the Lakers. But as we saw, they just don't have enough two-way guys, I think, to stay with the big dogs in Minnesota. That was an impressive game 1 win for Minnesota.
Yeah. I mean, they shot the ball bad. And I think in those situations, they're not going to win ball games if Devin Booker doesn't show up or Bradley Beal doesn't have over 25 points. That's just the harsh reality. You look down at that bench, they don't have anybody. They have nobody. That team was not structured for them to succeed. If they make it out of the first round, that is a success at this point.
Yeah.
It is.
With their guys healthy, too. It's like Brad, KD, and Devin Booker are healthy, and it's looking like a successful season is getting out of the first round. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They ain't got it. I picked them to win the series, but like I said, Minnesota got some boys to throw at them. When you got guys like Nall making plays and Jaden McDaniels and, Naz Reeds, you know what I mean? Like those guys coming in, it's like, all right, you're in for a long night.
Depth versus star power, right? Like Phoenix is very top heavy, and Minnesota's got a lot more.
Whoa! Wait a minute. Is that Rudy here talking? I think Rudy has something to say about star power.
There is no star brighter than me. I am the biggest star. But when you have the KD, the book, the Brad Bill, is very big, small star. Small star. They're big personality, but they're small. I am big. Big star. Rudy Gobert.
Big star. All right. Well, Rudy, I appreciate you coming back on here. But we're going to close out this podcast here. We had a really good time mixing it up with you. So thanks for joining us here. And I'm sure because you guys are very underrated going forward, we'll probably hear from you again.
This is right. We are not done. Cannot wait to see the Joker, the Nikola Jokic. And I, Rudy Gobert, will have the last laugh.
How does that laugh sound, by the way?
That's how I thought it was playing in my head that way.